Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Inglis. I'm the staff officer for Parks and Recreation, the University of California Cooperative Extension, and of course, Ag Weights and Measures. I wanted to spend a little time with you guys today talking about kind of the life cycle of a board letter. You know, we understand a lot of what you guys go through to get us the board letter and the struggles that you have with getting things through different concurrence reviews and getting it through A and all of that. And we want to kind of walk through what happens once we get the letter. So many of you guys are familiar with this, right? This is your docketing schedule, and it's got a few steps on it. I wanted to share with you guys this calendar. So this one goes in a little bit more detail about what happens once we get it. So steps 1 through 4, this is all what you guys do. You're going to determine you need a board letter, you're going to forecast it in the SPLF, you're going to draft it, send it out for your concurrences, make sure your department reviews it and approves it to come to us. Then on Friday, which is about roughly 3.5 weeks before the board meeting, that's when you guys have to turn it into us. And we take it, and you know what? We have all the way until Wednesday at noon to get it to Sarah for review. But how many, show of hands, how many of you guys come in on Monday and get everything you want done on Monday done? Every single Monday?
Every single Monday.
Oh, wow. There's a few of you. But many of us, oftentimes things come up, right? And we get different projects that we have to work on, emergency things that happen over the weekend, and we're kind of catching up. What happens on Tuesday mornings that's board letter related? Board hearings. Wednesday mornings? Board hearings. Yeah, so we take the board letter, and we do technically have all the way until Wednesday, but we have to be able to work it into our schedules and make sure that we can get it reviewed and into Sarah as early as possible. And we do try to get it to her as early as possible because we know her review then impacts downstream when you get into steps 7, where she returns her comments to you guys. So we give you guys back the comments, and you guys have to go through your review, incorporate them. Sometimes that means you have to get it back to us for Sarah to look at again. Sometimes it means you guys can run it into EA. But what happens if on the following Monday it's a holiday? How does that impact your EA? All right, so we definitely take that into consideration as we're going through and trying to move things along and get it back to you guys. Next step, on step 8, after you guys have gotten it through EA, you give it back to us, and we get it 4 p.m., the final by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, so that we can dock it by noon on Thursday. Oftentimes, we're in meetings on Thursday mornings. So if you guys get it to us by 4 and our schedule restricts us and we have to stay up that night getting it into the docketing system, that's on us. But when it comes in later or it comes in after hours, then it becomes a little bit more of an issue because the timelines can become super crunched. And the clerk of the board has to then take this letter, take the docketing schedule, take it and make sure that they put out an agenda. And they want all of that done pretty much between that noon and roughly 1:30, 2 o'clock time frame. So there's a quick turnaround there as well. And then so you guys are aware, once those go into the docketing system, the DCAO actually takes the printed final versions, takes them home, reviews them over that weekend. We end up briefing her the next week on some of the details on them, and they get it published on that following week, a week before the board hearing. During that week, heaven forbid, we have a goldenrod or a late docket. We have to make sure that board letter gets signed by the chairwoman's office by 5 p.m. on Thursday so that we can get it docketed that night or by 8 o'clock a.m. on Friday morning when the final agenda comes out. Go through that weekend, you do the board briefings on Monday, which many of you guys are sometimes pulled into or involved in, and then of course ending with the board hearing on that final day, and then the board letter hopefully gets approved, moved into the record as an action item taken. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview, and it can help with some of the planning that you're doing as you look at it. This isn't based on any dates in particular, it's just based on a Wednesday whenever the board hearing is, and you can work your way back to see where all the different steps are, and you'll know kind of where it is at once you give it to us.
And I just wanted to add one thing. So when we step 12 and 13, when your staff officers are doing the DCAO briefing, if you have items that you've done concurrence on that are going on a Tuesday agenda, it would be so helpful if you could let your staff officer know that those things are happening, because we also brief her on her Tuesday agenda items as well. So every Monday before a board hearing, Sarah goes to all of the Board of Supervisors offices and briefs them not only on the Wednesday agenda, but also on anything that touches luge on Tuesday. So we need to be able to have the time so that we know what's going on Tuesday, how it might affect your departments or affect luge. And that way, in case somebody has gone into a supervisor's office before Sarah and she walks in and they say, hey, tell me about this, park improvement that somebody's giving, $60,000 for, or whatever it is. We don't want her to be caught by surprise. So I know we do a lot of Tuesday items. And again, either your staff officer or Vince, because he coordinates all of the Tuesday stuff for us, that would be really helpful for us as well. So with that, those are kind of the big picture things of what the board letter process is, what we kind of want to move towards, how we want to start tweaking our approach moving forward.